Okay. We're at the 7:35 mark. Thank you, Kwame, for starting the recording. And just a warm welcome to all of you for being on the call. Thank you for taking the time. For those of you that regularly join the Land Use Zoning Committee meetings, usually, thank you for always taking the time to be here and be contributive. And for those of you, I heard a couple of you that it is your first time on the call, welcome. I know it was, quite quiet in WebEx land for the first couple of minutes, but please know there is energy and happiness that you're here attending this meeting. So my name is Melanie Wilkerson. I work alongside Kwame Afray on the community board. I'm in the capacity as an interim chair of the zoning committee, which is hybrided rather with the land use committee that Chair Afray oversees. I'm also a sergeant at arms, which essentially in my role, it's to help ensure that things are streamlined and orderly. So those of you that are on the community board have seen me in that function. I'll be quick just to hand it over to Kwame to get us started. Chair Afray to get us started. This is a phone call where we are conducting some normal land use agenda overview as per usual, but it will be abbreviated tonight so that we could allow there to be a more robust community conversation follow-up in relation to the development that's been occurring in the local business. Forgive me if I'm saying this incorrectly, the DeCosta Carding Inc. business. So please do be mindful that we would ask all attendees to remain muted at all times. There will be opportunities to allow everyone on this call to be able to participate, in which point you will be queued. Please raise your hand when you intend to speak. If you do speak without raising your hand or without it being in relation to the time when there is community commentary, just a heads up, you may be muted only out of respect to keeping the call from becoming imbalanced. There are some folks that may be joining by phone, and we don't want to make the meeting experience unpleasant. Other than that, please feel free to use the chat as well to engage. Myself, Kwame, and others will be responsive there. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chair Afray to open us up.
Thank you, Chair Wilkerson. My name is Kwame Afray. I'm the Chair of Land Use Committee for Community Board 17. The time now is 7:38, and I call this meeting to order. I want to welcome everybody to the Community Board 17 Land Use Committee. And for clarity, I wanted to just put the statement out there of what our purpose is. Our committee advocates for the responsible planning and development within our district. We provide input on zoning changes, business improvement districts, variances, special permits, other land use matters, and they have to be in accordance to the New York City Charter, right? The idea for our committee, as a committee of Community Board 17, is to concentrate on these matters, and the ultimate goal is to strive for balance and preserving the community's character, but also taking in ideas for thoughtful development that benefits residents, right? Our responsibilities include, or have included in the past, landmarks, historic preservation, housing issues. Even though we do have a housing committee that concentrates specifically on housing matters, some of that tends to fall in our peer review in certain times, and budget matters related to HPD, DOB, and the Department of City Planning, right? So thank you everybody for joining tonight. And, I just wanted to get started. If you received the agenda, that was the greetings and introduction part. The last month, we're going to shift over into the chairperson's report, which I'm going to keep brief because we're actually addressing the main topic of the last month's most concentrated areas. I do want to touch on some business that we will need to follow up that I don't see listed here in the unfinished portion, which is due to the tax lien sale. There's been some conversations going around with our housing chair Dr. Renault, she's actually on top of it as well, but we're going to also have our own internal task force to address these matters. I believe the list was released. And once it gets filtered, we'll have some of our committee members later on in the meeting when we get to that portion, focus on that. That should be our action item that we'll be speaking on. That shouldn't be listed, but the item for today will be in addressing a business that's located in our district in 1481 Troy Avenue. De Castro is what I'm pronouncing it as. If it's not the case, then please correct me later. And their attempt their attempt to get a permit to do some construction for what they're calling improvements for the current operations, right? At this time, I'd like to open the floor to any elected officials that'd like to speak on the matter of the business in question. Is there anyone here from Councilmember Lewis's office or Malik Water Chairman's office? Sorry, I just saw something in the chat. I'd like to have the floor now to speak to the business and any actions they've taken since our meeting. I do want to touch that we've had 3 meetings, one initially with the business on January 23rd. We had a subsequent meeting, an internal one with community residents on February 13th, which we had questions developed. The business did respond on February 21st. And subsequently last night or yesterday at some point, they did issue an updated progress reports that has the answers to all of those questions to this time. Okay. Anybody here?
Yes, Assembly Member Chandler Waterman spoke in the chat and advised that Mr. Dalton Robinson is on. If one of you
Okay.
could just clarify which of you would like to speak, you're welcome. You have the floor.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Dalton. Chandler
Sorry,
Waterman's
can you hear me?
office. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We hear you both.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Dalton. I'm so sorry. I know, Dalton, if I miss anything to pick up. But thank you so much for inviting me. New York State Assembly Member Monique Chandler Waterman. Thank you, Chair. Afraid. Thank you so much, Chair Wilkinson. And thank you to the committee members on. Basically, I just want to make sure I reiterate, I stand strong with Committee Board 17. Thank you to the Land Use Committee for doing your doing due diligence, and all the committee members spoke out. As you heard, myself, the council member Farrah Lewis, Senator Parker, and neighboring Assembly Member Yeager has written a letter to DEC that we have listed all the complaints and edified the voices of the community members and the past harm and current harm and potential harm that this project brings to human health. And we stand strong with the community members, and we have requested meeting with DEC as well. And we will continue to support. So we're here to get more, to listen to what's going on, anything else that we need to update ahead of our meeting that we're going to also have with them next week. So thank you so much. And I will turn the floor back over so we continue the meeting. And I'll be listening. And Dalton Robinson is here. We take this matter very, very, very serious in our office, and we'll let you know that we are here in support. So I will go off camera and I'll be on mute so I can get educated. So this way we can be more helpful moving forward. Thank you so much for allowing me to serve, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. Someone raised their hand from CM Lewis's office. I'm
Hi,
not sure who it was.
hi, good
Yes.
evening. I am Councilmember Lewis's Chief of Staff. I have Councilmember here with me. She would like to say a few words.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Chair Wilkinson and Chair Afraid. Thank you so much for hosting this evening's meeting. As the Assembly member mentioned, we're just here to listen, get all the concerns, and we're fully aware of all the things that are happening with the coastal cartering. And we're here to stand with you all and to fight for you all on behalf of this matter. So look forward to listening in. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone else at this time from any of our elected officials? Okay. Seeing none. Is there a representative from De Castro in this meeting?
Yes, Jared Rosen.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
Good evening. And also we have Milana Kononenko from DDEX.
Okay.
She's here as well.
All right, thank you. At this time, I don't know if you want to take the next few minutes to speak to, your operations. Maybe sometimes words on paper don't, create the color of what you're actually trying to achieve. I'd like to give you a couple of minutes to speak to what you're trying to achieve with your permit and give you the floor to speak to that before we move into the community session. Is that okay with you?
Sure, I appreciate that. And actually, I think you'll see, and what we've been very impressed with Milana having such knowledge. I'm going to turn over to her. I'll be here, of course, should anyone have any questions, and I can gather any information that Milana can answer. But I think you'll see Milana is very well versed, very experienced. And Milana, if you want to just explain a little bit about how this is actually benefiting the community, because I think that all things considered, this is going to be a great benefit to the community versus how it is now.
Thank you. And thank you very much, everybody, and the community board that you invited us and gave us an opportunity to speak a little more about the project and explain the benefits of it. Actually, it is an existing facility which is operating at this location since the end of 1980s. And at this time, they are in the last stage of the review by the government, environmental government agencies, to approve the reconfiguration of the facility, which would be very good, actually, as we are saying here, for all the community and public health, because it will allow to enclose the existing operation, and which would reduce the concerns of about the air quality, dust, particulates, noise, and any other concerns which are related to the health issues which may be caused by the particulates, let's say. And otherwise, except for enclosing the operation, there is no proposed or anticipated change to the operation itself, to the type of waste which is going to be received, to the number of or type of trucks which are currently use the road, and to any other operations or existing activities at the site. So that's why we believe that this proposed project of installation of the building to enclose this C&D operation is actually not the negative impact for the community, but a positive impact, because it will really, it is supposed to, and we believe strongly that it will improve safety and health and well-being and all other aspects in the community, local community. We have received multiple letters with concerns related to the public comments, which we got during the meeting on January 23rd. We addressed those comments and posted the answers in the repository, online repository, and we also sent to the community board and public officials who were on the chain of emails. And we have several slides, because sometimes pictures or visual impressions work better than words, and maybe in when you combine them, it is even better. So if you let us do it, we will show you a couple of slides, which we maybe it will be a better explanation.
Yes,
Can we do
absolutely.
that? Okay,
Absolutely.
Marmik, I will introduce Marmik. He
Hello.
is, yes, our sub-consultant, and he will go over the slides with us, okay?
Okay. Hello, my name is Marmik. So I'll start the slides. If you can allow me to share the content, can I share it?
You should be enabled. Just test it.
Just give me a minute. Yes,
Can you see that?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
you can. Okay.
So I will start and then I will let you go. So basically, this first slide shows the zoning, current zoning, and the location of the facility. It is in blue, dark blue. And the pinkish area, it is manufacturing district M11, which is basically designated for these type of industrial and manufacturing facilities. We do acknowledge that the nearest residential zone is 300 feet to the north of the facility, and we clearly see it on the map as yellow, right? So everything what is yellow, it is residential, and what is pinkish, like it is a manufacturing district. And we do know that the public school 109 is located across the street from the Castole, and it is along East 45th Street. And there were questions which Marmik will go over in terms of the traffic on East 45th, the traffic on Farragut and Foster and other streets, which we would like to show you also the slides and address it too. Thank you. Marmik, can you please?
Sure. So as she said that the pink area that is shown in the map is an M11 district, which is designated for industrial activities. So the school is currently present in the M11 industrial district across the site that is going to have the development. So just a matter of fact that the Castoli carding started working in 1980s, and the school is made much later, between 2004 to 2006 in the manufacturing district. So the next slide shows the flow or the timeline of what the event has happened. So let's start from the left. We can see the start of the Castoli carding's operation in 1980s. So there was a consent order that was signed between the Castoli carding and the environmental agency, that is New York Department of Environmental Conservation, in 1991. Now, due to the stringent environmental regulations, AKRF, a firm, started doing their air and noise studies in 1998. In 1999, the Castoli retained an engineer, and beginning of 2000s, for the DSNY and DEC permit application and DOB application. So in 2007, by 2007, the engineer submitted an EIS to DSNY for operating the facility, and the solid waste management facility permit application to DEC in 2007. Now, due to the development of the school in around 2004 to 2006, the DEP requested sophisticated air and noise studies, and due to the modification of the National Ambient Air Quality Standards for fine particulates by US EPA, the review took a bit longer time. So the permit application was reviewed, and a conditional approval was given to the Castoli by the city agencies by 2021. Now, in 2022, there was a change in engineer, and the permit application was resubmitted to DEC, which had the proposed upgrades to stay in compliance with the revised, more stringent regulations. And the review is still going on in 2025. Which contains the public outreach, and the application process is going on right now. So this is a timeline of the events that has happened. in the past. So moving on to the next slide, there were questions about what is the custodian authorized to have. So this slide shows what exactly he is authorized to have. So he's authorized to have bricks, concrete and other masonry, soil and rock, wood, land clearing debris, wall coverings, plaster, drywalls, plumbing fixtures, non-asbestos insulations, roofing shingles, asphalt pavement, incidental glass, plastic that are not sealed, empty buckets, and electrical wiring and components that do not have any hazardous liquids, and pipes or metal that are incidental to any of the above. Now, along with this, there is no liquid waste or sludge that is accepted at decustody carding, and there is no change in the material acceptance policy in this configuration that is proposed in the application. So the material that is currently accepted will continue to be accepted. There is no change to it. These are the key points of the upgrade that is going on. So there were questions about what are the changes in the operations, or what exactly do you want to do at this site. So there will be no change to the construction and demolition debris operations. There is no change to the hours of decustody that is open. There is no change to the weight of the trucks transporting the material. There is no change to the truck routes utilized. So the thing that is going on there right now is not going to be changed. The only thing that is going to be changed is there will be the construction of a fully enclosed, environmentally friendly building to conduct all C&D processing indoors. There'll be an installation of sound attenuation wall along the eastern side of the facility. So if you focus on the picture that is shown, and you notice the circle in it, so this is the 3D rendering of how the building looks like. And you can also see a sound wall on the East 45th Street that is facing the school. There will also be installation of wastewater and stormwater collection system and treatment system in this application, which includes green infrastructure, and the site will be regraded and paved with porous pavement. So these all upgrades will be done to the facility to protect public health. Now, there were certain doubts about utilization of East 45th Street. So these two pictures, the one on the left is the existing facility, and the one on the right is the proposed facility that we are proposing to make. So as you can notice, there are two gates that are facing Troy Avenue, and there is a solid block wall on the East 45th Street indicated. There is no gate or entrance from East 45th Street. Therefore, the question of any trucks utilizing East 45th Street to enter decustody is currently not the case, because there is no entrance to it, and it remains the same in terms of proposed condition. There is no proposed gate on East 45th Street. The trucks will only use Troy Avenue, which is more suitable for the industrial traffic to come in and go out of the facility. Now, there were a few questions about truck routes, that what truck routes do you use, and do you use any truck routes that actually disturb people that are living nearby. So only the truck routes that are approved by DOT will be utilized. They are currently utilized, and there is no changes to the truck route whatsoever. So first of all, decustody carding do not own any of the trucks. Authorized truck third-party carters transport material to and out of the facility. Decustody also provides the truck route map, which is there in the engineering report in part 1 of page 88, which is uploaded to the online repository for anybody to view it. So this map is given to the users, so that this map can guide what truck routes to be taken and what not to be taken. No trucks utilize East 45th Street because there is no access point. And there was a question about the trucks using Farragut Road. So there are no trucks going on to the Farragut Road. Only the trucks that are the truck routes that are mentioned are used, except for any local deliveries which do not relate to Troy, like decustody's operations. Now, to actually make it clear, so these are the two pictures that are taken. On the left, you can see there is a wall and a concrete block wall that is currently existing on East 45th Street. So there is no chance of any truck entering decustody from this street. So if there are any trucks noticed, they are not related to De Castoli Karting's operation. And on the right, there's a picture of Farragut Road. You can, as you can see, there's actually a notice board of except no deliveries. There are no trucks on this road. So these signs on the Farragut Road are there, and De Castoli acknowledges these restrictions. So any trucks that are noticed on these streets, there must be local deliveries which are unrelated to De Castoli. And along with to prove the point, there are 3 pictures that are shown: one from May 2021, one from May 2023, and one from September 2024. All of these shows the tractors or the trailers that are standing on East 45th Street. The May 2021 is highlighted here, May 23 is highlighted here, and September 24 is highlighted here. So these trailers are observed over the years. Now, De Castoli do not have a gate on East 45th Street. So this could be linked to any other industrial or commercial operations in the area. There were questions about the dust that might fly out of the facility and disturb other people. Now, to clear out the point, that DICES performs annual dust, vibration, and sound and opacity testing to ensure compliance of the facility with New York City zoning standards. It is done on an annual basis. So the final report is uploaded to the online repository for the year 2024. It demonstrates the facility's compliance with the standards that are set. So after the proposed reconfigurations, these parameters that are being discussed are expected to go even lower than the existing one. The facility currently complies with the standards. So after reconfiguration, it is expected that these standards will be much lower and the facility will continue to comply with it. And these type of testing will be done on an annual basis after the reconfiguration is done. Now there was a question about De Castoli emitting toxic hazardous air pollutants. So any of the operation at De Castoli do not emit any hazardous or toxic air pollutants. There were a few questions about outreach efforts too. Now, there were questions about that people not getting informed about the meeting that we hosted. So 758 physical invitations were sent out from the Castoli's side via mail utilizing USPS. It included 727 businesses and residents and 31 elected officials. So the mail which was sent to them, the letter, it had invite and the fact sheet in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole, 3 languages, along with a translation flyer in 13 languages, so that anybody who does not understand these 3 languages can get a translation into their preferred language. Now, a recipient of an outreach letter may be discarded as a random piece of email from an unknown source as a junk mail. This could be an underlying cause of people not getting aware about the meeting that was hosted. So the pictures that are shown in the slide demonstrates the effort of sending the physical mail. You can also see a receipt from USPS of accepting it and delivering it. So these mails were sent out. Along with that, the email invites were sent to the businesses, community groups, and elected officials. As you can see in the image, there are all the emails that were available to us by that time. So the invite and the fact sheet in 3 languages was sent to all the emails, which includes the schools that are nearby and the officials and the other clubs or the community groups that are there nearby. Along with the emails, the invite was actually given in 3 newspapers 2 weeks in advance. One is the Canarse Courier, that is an English newspaper, a Spanish newspaper, that is El Especialito, and a Haitian newspaper, Haiti Progress, which circulates in the neighborhood. So the images shown here are of 3 papers exactly showing the invite for the meeting, along with the proof of publication that were given from these 3 individual papers, that these invites were published in the papers. So these were the 3 method of outreach by the applicant informing about the meeting. There were a few questions about what are the positive contributions of De Castoli to the local community. So he hires local residents from surrounding community, offers competitive pay to the employees, thus boosting the local economy. Environmental governmental agencies ensure that all studies and modeling of the potential impact protect community and environment in the vicinity of the project, preventing any exposure of general public to potential hazards or pollutant, and safeguard public health and well-being. The installation or construction of these high-priced structures to protect health and living conditions of the surrounding community is a significant positive contribution proposed by De Castoli Carding. De Castoli also performs frequent street cleanings and removal of litter on Troy Avenue, East 45th Street, Farragut Road, and Glenwood Road, thus protecting the surrounding community from debris, litter, and junk accumulation. De Castoli also offers special discounts to the community residents for utilizing his services. He provides topsoil for landscape projects to the community residents at no cost. He provides services to help city and state agencies in increasing recycling efforts and meeting the goals. So these are a few positive contributions from De Castoli to the community. There were a few questions about the construction impacts of how the construction that is going to take place is going to affect other people. So it's going to be a short one-phase construction, approximately 6 months long. It will be limited to the immediate area within and adjacent to the facility. It will be scheduled in such a way that it provides minimal disruptions to the residents, businesses, and schools, and will be designed in such a way that students and staff who are working in the school, so these construction schedule will be during the non-school hours and using the summer breaks for the longest segment of the work. So the construction schedule will be set in such a way that school is least affected. Secondly, De Castoli will communicate with the school administration about this scheduling of the construction. Now the disturbance will be very limited. So people who are staying approximately 300 feet away at the north will have almost no disturbance. The efforts are in line with local regulation, common practices for construction at and near school. And the proposed use of prefabricated building, expert construction team, and proper scheduling will reduce the construction installation times. So the modules will be delivered and installed rather than building everything from scratch. So these are the few questions on construction impacts. There were a few questions about odors, composting, and seagulls around the area. So the facility do not accept or store any of the material that produce odors or attract seagulls, nor it will accept it in future. So the incoming material is visually inspected to exclude any of the odor producing material. If there is a chance of these material coming in by mistake, it will either be loaded on the truck and delivered back, or if the truck has already left, it will be containerized and disposed within 24 hours. So the question about odor and seagulls still is ruled out of the discussion. Now they are actually shifting the C&D operations indoors, which will have filters and exhaust fans. So the problem of creating the odor, or the question of creating the odor or attracting seagulls, will be much lesser. And there is no composting activity taken at site. So the website mentions that topsoil, compost, natural stones, sand, gravel are being there at the site. So they are either derived from excavated material or purchased and stored in very small amounts to provide a vast variety of options to the local landscaping projects. So these are some of the questions or the concerns that were raised previously. We can go over.
Just let's get out of this screen, and yes, maybe we can see if we can answer some questions. Maybe some questions popped up when Marmik was going over the slides.
Yes, go ahead, Chair Fay, that's fine.
Sure. Based on the information that's been received, I hold to the land use committee members to review the information that you may have and allow the floor to some of our newer members that may be present to actually speak to the business themselves. But we will be addressing all questions also. But we open the floor now to any questions pertaining to what was just discussed. Please raise your hand and you'll be called upon and acknowledged.
And one more thing, if I can add, please, for more visual and feeling of what it is, we Dicastole actually would like to invite some community board members and some elected officials to please come over and see it like in real life. And we'll be there as consultants, like to give explanation where we would like to have the wall, where we would like to have the building, what is proposed basically. And it probably will be like more explanatory when you are able to walk around and see what's going on. So
Appreciate that
it is
invitation.
the only thing. Yeah, it is the only thing I wanted to add. Okay.
We'll definitely
Thank
take you up on that invitation. And we'll follow up. We'll follow up with a more organized effort to see what date works for everybody. All right. Acknowledging
Thank you.
Nicole Campo.
Hi. So yeah, this is one of my first meetings, but I just wanted to make sure I understood. It sounds like the nature of your business is not changing at all. It's just currently it's more open air and you are investing in a building to enclose a lot of uh, the activity at your building, and so it would keep any like air and noise further enclosed rather than going into the surrounding area. Is that correct?
Yes, it is absolutely correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, acknowledging Mr. Tate. I believe that's the order that I saw the
Yeah.
hands in.
Okay, good evening. Okay, I do have a question because I am still not clear, as you mentioned that you will be enclosing the building, the facility. But my understanding is you're enclosing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe from what I understand, you are enclosing the new operation, but it's not that you're enclosing the whole area.
No, we do not. We are not going to have a new operation. The operation which is existing right now in the open yard, as Nicole Campbell mentioned, yes, it is exactly what we are going to have, but it is going to be moved indoors. So the C&D operation, which is currently taking place in the open yard, is not going to be anymore in the open yard. We propose to move it in the proposed building, and it will be fully enclosed, and the building will be equipped with fans, which will be provided with filters. So it is not only, there will be no operation in the open yard of C&D processing, but it will be also the air which is indoors, like if it generates any particulates, they will be captured by the filters. So it is, it is really a beneficial project, and there will be no new operation. All operation which is going to take place is the existing operation which we propose to move indoors.
With all due respect, it is a new operation when you're building, you're creating a new building to grind that material. But you still haven't, I'm still not clear, because what's going to happen with all the trucks that come into that open space? Are they going to drive into the new building, into the new facility to drop off their all those debris, or is it going to be dumped into the open space and then brought into the grinder?
So the entire C&D operation, including truck delivery, unloading, processing, storage, and loading of the outbound trailers, will be conducted indoors in the proposed building. So the yard will not be used for C&D operations at all, including the truck unloading and loading of the C&D debris.
Okay. I also want to point out one thing, and then I'll give up the floor, is that none of those, the media that you mentioned there are distributed in this area. El Especialito is nowhere to be found in this area. Neither is the Canarsie Courier. Those is in Canarsie, not in East Flatbush. So none of those media. So that must have been a mistake right there on your part, because in this area we have the Caribbean voice and other, but Canarsie Courier and El Especialito is nowhere to be found in this area. Okay. So in the
George,
future, yeah, if you go ahead, sorry.
if you don't mind, we would really appreciate your input on the local papers, because those were papers which were recommended to us to reach out to, and we would really appreciate your input on the newspapers for Caribbean language and the Spanish and English for your local neighborhood, because it is important. And next meeting, when we are going to hold it, we would like to use the papers which are really common for your neighborhood.
I'll be happy to do that, because the whole community needs to know about this.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. In seeing hands, the order was the next hand? Was it Duncan Robinson? Was his hand raised? I believe it was. Dalton?
Yes,
Hmm?
Dalton, that's correct.
Yeah.
Just for context, I've been associated with some of those quote unquote, I said, nuances at the Castoli for quite some time. The former Assembly member, Assemblyman Perry, and George might know this person, Mr. Nugent. He was our eyes on the ground about operation with the Castoli. And I clearly remember, in order for us to verify some of the activities that were going there, we literally went there one afternoon they were talking about when the Castoli was in full motion and whatever it is. And what they were actually complaining about is the number one, the vibration that some of the houses were actually undergoing, and number two, the dust. You could actually see the dust on the people's windows, some of their cars, and so on and so forth. So my question, based on no change, but based on the improvement that the customer want to make at that site, will there be any mitigation of those circumstances? Lower vibration, less dust circulating inside the air, less what we call quality of life nuisances to the residents that live in that area.
Yes. Yes. So thank you for the question. Yes, the mitigation measures, the first and the largest or biggest mitigation measure is the enclosure of the operation into in the building. It is the biggest mitigation measure. Another measure is that the acoustic wall will be installed along the street, East 45th Street, and the misting system will be installed in the enclosed building as well as outside. So they do have now dust suppression as well. They have sprinklers and they use hoses. Nobody is going to remove hoses. You still are going to use the hoses and spray the any dusty load or anything, any pile, if it is a windy, like dry and windy day. But the misting system works the best, actually, because it is not providing as much water, but it is atomizing it, and it captures particulates and causes it to precipitate instead of becoming airborne. And we are proposing in the inside the building and outside the building to install the automized misting system. So, and the wall itself will prevent the particulates to leave the facility if any windy day, let's say dry windy day, or as you are saying that one day it was like full production, like you got there on time when everything was moving and a lot of like activity and some dust, and so the misting system actually is a good mechanism to control the dust and keep it inside, not even letting it fly out anywhere. And it will not be even rising high because it will be, as I said, capturing those particulates. So it is in terms of dust. Can you please repeat if you have any other concerns except for the vibration? Here we go, vibration. Yes, so every year, DICES, for several years now at least, they are doing vibration testing at the facility, around the facility, on the property line, actually along East 45th and Troy, right? And the vibration is really like almost not existing. So, and compared to the standards, it is below standards, like way below the standards. So, and I'm surprised to hear that. And maybe it happened, I don't know what should have happened, to have this really like noticeable vibration around the facility. And we would really like, I would like to talk to you about it more. Maybe we can find the source of this vibration.
Yes, as I said, George probably know, but we have in the past, as Assemblyman Perry has in the past, contacted the leadership of the Castor. We have had more than one meeting, and it is true that we have gotten the ears of the administrators at those time, and to actually have physical evidence of exactly what was taking place. But I'm telling you, with that grinding and everything, so on and so forth, that you could, and Mr. Nugent, as I said, he was the person that would take all the pictures, all the recording, and all the everything. And we normally have meetings down there. We come to the meeting to meet with the residents down there just to discuss those issues. And we have in fact gotten some cooperation from you at that time. And I sincerely hope that this time we'll be getting the same thing and even more, so we can allay the fears of the residents in that area.
I'm thinking that you repeat the word grinding. Maybe yeah, maybe it is the piece of equipment like a trommel, but next time we are there, we will ask specifically to turn it on and measure the levels of vibration while it is, like fully operational. But normally we have all the equipment operating when it is, we are taking the readings like when facility is operational, and then we ask to shut everything off and take the readings of the background levels. So, and but it is yeah, if it is such a big thing, which you noticed, we need to actually
Sure.
come and measure. Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
thank you that you mentioned it. Yes, we'll definitely measure it. And it also gives us the idea that even if it is indoors in the building, in the area of the trommel, if it really creates the vibration, we will check it. In that area, we will recommend to make a absorption pad, so it doesn't have, let's say, the vibration sent to the surrounding area. And thank you very much for this. We marked it down.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Hazel Martinez.
Hello, it's actually Allison Martinez. We're together.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just wanted to ask a couple questions. One, I just want to know, just for the record, what instigated these improvements? Was there a change in data in your readings that, because most companies don't make, substantial investments unless there's something that prompts it. So either it's just keeping up with the times and improvements, or was there some event or reading that led you to realize you needed to actually change how you are conducting business?
Thank you for the question. And the reason for this was that, as Marvik was mentioning in the floor, like timeline. So they started operating in the beginning of 1990s under the consent order. And then the regulations started changing. They were grandfathered from the time they actually opened in 1980s, in the 1980s. They yes, from the time they opened, then the rules, the regulations started get more stringent, and it was required later, like in the beginning of 2000s at least, to. Can I continue? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. No. Yes. So they were required. Not they. Everybody in the city of New York is required, if we have the C&D operations, they are required to be indoors. But you cannot just come and say, oh, okay, I need to be indoors. I need to put this building up, right? And you build it and you are done and everybody's happy. If it is a facility of this type, you need to file the modification of the operation, right? That it is, you want to build a building and close it, even though it is positive, but you still need to do this. And since they didn't have the permit, they were working under the consent order. Definitely, they needed to provide the full application to the city and state. And it is how all these air quality and noise studies were carried out, because multiple government agencies of the city of New York were going through all like chapters of this environmental assessment statement, and air quality and noise were the most the biggest points of concern at all times. And that's why it was so meticulously studied by DEP, the city DEP. And eventually they agreed that the determination of no impact is valid, and they accepted it. So that's why it was taking so long. And it is not like, they did something wrong. It is the requirement which they need to follow. And it just takes so long sometimes to go back and forth and make it work for everybody, meeting the requirements and meeting the standards and making everything work. I don't know
Okay.
if I answered your question.
Yes, you're not saying that there wasn't some, you're saying basically it's keeping up with regulatory changes, not some event or monitoring event that caused the need for the improvement. My next question is, well, this is more a statement and then a question, but when it comes to the truck routes, it's not a matter of a change in the truck route. It's a matter of abiding by the existing truck route rules, which not just, and people have said they've had photos of truck drivers from that company going up Farragut Road and the like. So we can't just dismiss their lived experience. We have to acknowledge that truck drivers may need to get reacquainted with the rules, and that's part of operations and management to do, and to acknowledge that that's a reality. And then I just want to just confirm again, like what George was stating about the community engagement. Technically, those are not papers that circulate in this community. He is correct about that. And that's part of like doing a deeper dive in community engagement so that you know what is actually, more likely to reach people. And technically the evidence that you provided of mailing is actually just evidence of purchase of stamps and holding of documents. It's not actually evidence of delivery of those letters. So that's the challenge. So we know the reality is that people didn't receive those things, and so that's the problem. So, and for the event that you want to have, it would be great to have more residents there. You mentioned that people on the board and elected officials on site, but the residents right there in the vicinity need to be a part of that meeting. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And yes, we understand that it didn't work, via the UPS, even though some community members were calling me before the meeting, like a week before the meeting, I would say, and they were asking me like, is it free, or what is this about? So some community members, it means that they got the email. So, but like personally, if I got something like this, it would go in my recycling bin without opening. But it doesn't mean that everybody would do it. But it is a very big possibility. Let's put it this way. That's why I mentioned to the community board that maybe, next time when we need to distribute the notices, we'll definitely appreciate the feedback on the newspapers, and we'll definitely appreciate like maybe helping us out in terms of how it is better to inform the public, because they will listen to you. If they receive something from you, they will pay attention. If they receive something from some Didex or Dicastoli, who cares? I mean, they don't know them and they don't really want to know them. Like if we are talking about mail. Then, of course, now we have more updated emails for the community members and elected officials, and we'll definitely distribute better email correspondence. And I believe that another thing we may do is to try posting the invites and the information in some areas, yeah, polls or something, which, but this will communicate with, and will actually ask the opinion of the community board and local people, like where they think is the best place to put it. Because we don't live in the area, we don't know.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
for the question and response. Did you want to say something, Allison? So you unmuted yourself?
No, I was just saying thank you.
Thank you. All right. We're gonna close out the session, but we will acknowledge Ms. Quashi as the last question.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm a resident of the neighborhood. I happen to be across the street from you. My dad worked on the project back in the 80s when you had the problem with the stench. If I would have seen a letter that came from you, I would have been on high alert because I knew about the problem. So I would not have thrown that letter in the garbage. So one comment, one feedback I would like to have say to you is that if you would have went to the community board that's 3 blocks away and alerted them about what you wanted to do, that could have been one avenue that you could have utilized as a tool. And they would have told you that they could say, yes, we could alert the community. That could have been one way you could use the community board. And they could have told you what local newspapers you could utilize. I'm going to be very blunt because I'm the community for myself. You did not want us to know. Okay, I'm going to say it from my opinion, my humble opinion. I do not believe you wanted us to know.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
and I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I'm speaking for myself. I've been here for 40 years. I open up every piece of junk mail that comes to the house. I did not see a letter, and I'm across the street. And I remember the stench that came from that facility where it was medical waste. And I'm upset. Okay.
yes.
Number two, okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. And I have two questions, basically. Across the street, can you tell me what street?
47 Troy Avenue on the corner of Troy and Farragut. And I see the seagulls. I see the seagulls every day. Saturdays, I see the seagulls. I know the seagulls are there. And I've had to repair my windows because the trucks come down and rumble. My windows come down. I lose heat out of my house because I have to push up the windows. I have spent money on replacing windows.
So talking about the reaching out to the community board, we were actually calling the community board in 2023, and then we were calling in November of 2024. And the fact that we didn't come there physically, we were planning to arrange for the meeting, and then the meeting which we needed to hold in January was really like already coming fast at us. So that's why we didn't come to the community board in person. And but the efforts were made, and we were preparing, we were sending, actually in 2023, the letter was sent, and the emails, not emails, what we called, right? You called personally. Yes, in November 2024, and discussed, and we knew that the community board has special sessions like this, the meetings, for the land use and rezoning committee.
Yeah.
Yes, and we were planning to be to ask to be part of one of them before even our effort to do the meeting, which we held on January 23rd. So, but I appreciate your actually advice that we need to, the best way to do it is to ask how we can invite and notify the public. It is through the community board, and it is we also figured now that it is the best way to have people engaged. And the
Secondly, about
noise and trucks. So as we explained before, so the trucks which come to Di Castole, they are using Glenwood Road, which is to the south of the facility.
And they come down, sorry, they come down Troy Avenue too.
Troy Avenue, yes, from Glenwood Road, right?
No, from Foster Avenue down Troy Avenue, straight to you.
It is listen, I do not argue, okay, because Di Castole provides them. So you saw the truck route map. It is the requirement for all trucks to follow this schedule, this map, right? And Di Castole distributes it. They give them the maps. They tell them how to get to the facility. This map has a exact description, like when you come from southeast, when you come from northwest, and so on, when you leave, where you go. And if these trucks, which are using Farragut, really get there, it is basically they should be fined, because the trucks are not allowed on that road. There is a sign not to enter, no trucks on the road. So we will speak with we will speak with the applicant, with Di Castole, that he will need to maybe make it, I don't even know, like a requirement. How can you make them? I don't know the answer to this, but we are going to talk to Di Castole and see how we are going to address this, so they do not go to the north of his facility. They must go only to the south, to Glenwood Road. It is the only way they need to come and leave. But he doesn't have his trucks. These trucks are from other companies, and he just needs to constantly, I understand, repeat it to them and give him the maps.
Yeah.
It is, but thank you. We are going to talk about it.
Okay, I have one more thing to address. You mentioned 6 months of construction. Where will they store your building supplies? Will it be on the residential streets where you will have your fabricated buildings? Will it be on Glenwood Road? Where would it be? Because they're going to take up parking. Where will they have their trucks stored? Because when you did the pavement on Troy Avenue, I was up all night because the lights were on. They were screaming, hollering. I know that was DEP, but they accommodated you guys because you couldn't disturb your work during the day. So I was quite annoyed.
As we mentioned before, we will be mostly concerned about the school operation, not the facility operation. And basically, that's why we would like to make sure that the major construction, like, the soil disturbance, should take place only when the school is out for the summer, let's say, and do as much as possible during that time, because not to do anything at night, or over the weekends, right? So, and when the school is back and the ground is already closed, and the prefabricated building means that you don't do stuff on the site, at the site. You are just bringing pieces of the building, let's say, and then you put it as Lego together. You just basically connect it together by bolts or whatever they use for connection, right? And so the construction period, that's why we don't expect it to be long, because all the pieces like will be pre-manufactured and modulus will be brought, installed,
Yeah.
done. So the main thing, as you said, it will be just the moment when they need to put the foundation. And this we wanted to do, we want them to do, the contractors who is going to work there, we want them to do just during the off-school hours. And if they need to close or reduce the operation at the facility during this time, so be it, because the main priority will be so the school is not disturbed. We keep saying, Vanessa, I apologize. We keep saying, talking about school, just because it is the closest so-called sensitive receptor. Not that anybody ignores residents, but the school is right there across the street. Okay,
I
and
understand.
yeah.
All right. Thank you. Chair Wilkerson?
Yes, I'll be uplifting a final comment for this community session, for time purposes. Thank you so much for being very comprehensive with your responses. The final one is from Cheryl Smith earlier. I thought it was a pertinent question. Does DeCostoli restrict trucks in its partnerships with trucking companies that are older engineer models? This relates to environmental concerns about air pollution.
So DeCostoli doesn't have partnership with trucking companies, and many of them just come. Sometimes, they can come like from local projects. Sometimes they can come from the projects a little farther away, but it doesn't mean that they can control their trucks. However, the requirement actually is to the trucking companies, and I don't want to lie to you, but I think it was last year or the year before when the requirement just from the EPA and DOT came out, and they require the trucks to be updated. I don't pay attention too much, to the trucks themselves, because it is not my field. But I read it, I saw it, that the trucks were supposed to be upgraded like every 5 years. And it means that the trucking company, if they do not meet these requirements, they will be actually fined. So it is what I understand about trucking.
Thank you. So before I turn it over to Chair Frey to help us close the meeting, again, this closes the community session. Thank you all so much. I just wanted to affirm my own thank you for providing comprehensive responses to all of the questions. Once again, I would like to confirm, Milana, your colleague, would you mind stating your name and title, sir, for our notes?
Yes, my name is Milana Kononenko. I'm a professional engineer and the project liaison for this project.
Mhm.
Hello, my name is Marmik Jariwala. I'm engineering training, and I work for DICES.
Can you spell your name, please?
MARMIK. Marmick,
Mhm.
Jariwala.
Thank
And I
you.
work for DICES. Yeah.
Thank you. And so Frame,
Thank you.
I'll let Chair Frey elaborate on this, but just to offer some perspective here, I think that there's a lot of clarity about the scope of the project that's been both published, addressed in written correspondence, for public awareness and in this meeting this evening. There continue to be comments when I think about the buckets of concerns that have bubbled up in these meeting spaces. There continue to be comments about the disconnect in how communication has been both obtained and disseminated. So, a part of what Chair Frey will speak to is, how we want to mitigate um, those concerns going forward as we support the community, we support and amplify the community's voice there. Also, the ongoing address of environmental concerns that may be attributed to the property or in some way that the business ensures in any way it can offsets any impact to the immediate surrounding area. And lastly, your willingness to accept the variety of questions and also to be responsive, both in an ongoing fashion on your website and also in accountability to the community by participating in calls like this is appreciated, and we do want to acknowledge that in your participation in this space tonight. So thank you, Chair Frey.
You touched on everything, but I'll just touch on it again. Thank you for your commitment, for reaching out, being responsive to our communications, both in the past and tonight. I would like to publicly ask you to share your slide deck if you feel you can, and there's not any pertinent information on there that you don't want to be disclosed, so I could distribute it amongst the community and committee members, so we could have that for our records. I do appreciate the clarity in attempting to get both communications to more publications that are actually directly affected to the residents that are speaking tonight. And I do want to impose that you do utilize us as the community board to try to get that message out there. In addition to your own distribution of mailings and stuff like that, just make a more concerted effort in the future, which you have been, but I'll just state it again, to make sure that we're aware of your updates and your progress and how you move along as you try to attain this permit from the DEC moving forward. Thank you again, and we look forward from hearing from you in the
Thank you very
future.
much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you too. We'll be closing discussions pertaining to this at this time. And we'll be conducting more land use related businesses, which isn't much, but we do have some things to discuss. You can feel free to hang around. There will be like a small section where if you want to discuss this, because technically we're shifting into unfinished business. And thank you again, everybody, for your commitment, and anybody pertaining tonight. If you do have any questions or follow-up questions, they have been responsive. Please contact the community board office, myself, or Chair Wilkerson, and we'll make sure that we gather any appropriate questions. We do have a large basket of questions that have been answered, that have been asked and answered, and we'll try to do a package that'll basically collectively have everything, including their slide deck, that should be able to answer many of the questions that have been asked both tonight and other times. All right. Moving forward, unfinished business. Committee members, I mentioned it in the report with unfinished business. The one thing that's been on my radar, and it was brought to my attention by the housing chair, Dr. Carol Renault, was the tax lien sale. Have we gotten any information pertaining to the lists of affected residents since we last spoke? Is Joan here? Anybody?
Hi, this
Ah,
is Joan Erskine here. I can't find my hand to raise it. Can I
okay,
talk?
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, the lists are out. They are available to anybody on the NYC property tax website. You can look up Brooklyn, you can look up specific addresses. But as long as I have the floor, I'd like to make a specific plea. Brooklyn Level Up, Allison is here as well. We're starting our outreach to affected properties. We need volunteers for door knocking, basically going to affected properties, seeing what the situation is. Frequently, my experience when I did this, the last time there was a tax lien sale, a lot of the properties actually are empty or there are tenants there. But if there is a property owner there, giving them the information they need to get themselves off the tax lien list, and also the dates we are having at the Clarendon branch of the Brooklyn Public Library, specific dates, 12 to 3 each time on Saturdays, that people can come and get assistance with applying for exemptions from the tax lien list. These are not exemptions from property tax. People hear exemption and think that. No, everybody has to pay property taxes, but there are discounts for senior citizens, for veterans, for certain income classes. And what we need now are volunteers to help us get the word out to the specifically affected properties in our neighborhood. And Allison, are you still here? You have the numbers, right? For Community Board 17?
Yeah, usually we have the list filtered by zip
Yeah.
codes, right?
Yeah, Allison has the list. Maybe she left. But
I'm here.
oh yeah, do you how many properties are in Community Board 17 that are on the list?
In CB17, there are 1,166 properties that
Yeah.
are on the lien sale list.
Now, not all of those are single family houses or even apartment buildings. Some of them are commercial buildings, but we're really interested in doing the outreach to affected homeowners and also to tenants who might be in affected properties, because those people, their homes are at risk as well. So if anybody wants to volunteer, you please contact Brooklyn Level Up at info@bklvup.org or .com. I don't remember which is it, Allison? And
I'll put it in the chat.
okay, put it in the chat, and also the phone number.
Yes.
You can call the phone number, and if you even just want to do one Saturday, that would be helpful. And just think of all the exercise you'll get walking around.
I will say 1,100 properties is significantly higher than 4 years ago.
Well, it's been 4 years. So it's been an accumulation over 4 years.
Okay.
That's part of the reason.
All right, if you could just get that list over to me whenever you can, that'll be great. And if anybody's interested in volunteering for this initiative, also reach out and I'll connect you with the appropriate party.
The list was shared with last night, we were on the housing committee meeting talking about the lien sale list with our presentation deck. And the list was shared with Carol Renault, as well as some other additional information.
All right, no problem. I'll reach out. Thank you.
Really quick, Allison, do you have a flyer relating to the
Yes, we
recruitment ads?
create a flyer, and I'll distribute the flyer tomorrow. So I'll send it to Ms. Frazier and you as well.
Thanks so much.
I will tell you, we will be at Clarendon branch of the Public Library on Saturdays, starting March 15th and 22nd.
then April 12th and 19th, and then May 5th, 10th, and 17th, all from 12 to 3.
And this is for support
This is
for the
for
tax lien?
people who need help, in-person help and support, getting their applications completed to get their properties off the lien sale list.
And
There
this and
will
the
be
date
other events as well,
and the
and we
date
also
is
will
in
be
May.
training about. And the sale itself is May 20th. Every action that people want to take to get their properties off of the list has to occur by May 19th at the latest. So we'll have, the 15th and the 22nd in March. The 15th is important because if you're eligible for any of the senior, veteran, or differently abled people exemptions from the tax lien sale list, your application for those exemptions has to be in by Monday, the 17th. Typically, it would be the 15th. However, because the 15th falls on a Saturday this year, you have until Monday, the 17th.
That's
Everyone
March
else who's
17th, right?
correct, March. That's the
Yeah.
same, that's the same deadline that would be for people who are interested, who are property owners who are not on the lien sale list, or if you are, who wanted like the star exemption or any of those other property tax discounts that are available. All of those are due by March 17th. So even if you're not on the lien sale list, you still should be getting those school tax discounts and all of that you're entitled to, depending, so long as you meet the eligibility requirements.
Thank you.
Oh, if I could just say one more thing, believe it or not, the Department of Finance, the property tax website has a lot of information on it. That don't be, if you're on the list, or you know somebody's on the list, don't be afraid to go to their page and see what they give, the dates, the times. They're actually quite helpful. They just want their money. So don't be afraid to go to the property tax website and see what they have there.
Not that this sure from the energy, but I do remember, was it called off 4 years ago? And that's why did that add to why this list has increased the way it was?
The Abolish the Tax Lien Sale, which Brooklyn Level Up is a part of, and is my particular bailiwick, worked very hard to get it not reinstated. But the Department of Finance, for reasons that I won't go into now, loves the tax lien sale. It does all kinds of things for them. So they reinstated it, but they put in a lot more rules about outreach and how to help people get off the tax lien sale. We would like there to be no tax lien sale, but we haven't gotten there yet. We're still working on it. The current tax lien sale format has been extended. I think it's for another 4 years, but then we'll have another chance to get it abolished. But for now, that we have to live with the devil that we know.
Thank you. Mr. Del Bennett, unfinished business?
This is for John Escon. When do they bring back the tax lien sale, and how can we get rid of
I
it?
can't hear you.
How
You're
can
not
we
coming.
get rid of it?
Yeah, you're not coming through clear.
Oh, shoot. Up in the chat.
Okay. Thank you. Any other unfinished business? All right, hearing none. New business. Is there any new business? Okay. I don't know if we actually had meeting minutes distributed, did we? I saw the minutes, but were they actually distributed?
So.
Huh?
I don't
I
believe
don't think so. Yeah, I don't know if I saw that. All right. So we'll say in closing that we had the meeting today pertaining to the business. We're gonna follow up. We have the support of our local elected officials and community organizations on this matter. We will stay on top of it, and we'll make sure that at some point we're gonna have to address it as we get more information, as the DEC progresses the permit. There will be a public forum section, which we'll be able to give our comments and concerns to. But we're gonna look at or organize to have that site visit, which should bring some clarity. There will be some members from the community board, and I'll reach out to some residents. I'll cite the invitation, but we'd like that actual thing to be organized. So we will reach out and gather a list once we get some times and dates to walk the facility for anyone that would be interested. And, you know, we'll finalize what our true comments and concerns are so that as a committee, we can bring it to the general board and send it up the chain for a vote. All right. At this time, do I have a motion for adjournment? Can someone make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting, Marguerite.
We have a
One
second?
statement, sorry, before.
Oh,
I just wanted to say one thing before. These are, the sessions at Clarendon Road are not the only opportunity to do in person. Your elected officials are hosting events as well. And we will share them with you as we find them out.
okay.
But I believe Councilmember Lewis has one, and I know that Assemblymember Chandler Waterman has 2 upcoming events specifically for this.
Pertaining to the tax lien.
Correct.
All right, cool. All right, let's start over.
Okay, I make a
Anybody?
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Teresa Burton, second.
A motion's been moved and properly seconded. The meeting for Land Use Committee is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Forward any of your questions to the office of myself or Chair Wilkinson. And we'll keep you apprised of any updates we get pertaining to the property in question or the business in question, along with any updates that we have for the tax lien sale. Look out for a package. That'll be a cumulative information, hopefully including the slide deck, along with the most recent progress report. And, you know, just try to take the time. It's a lot of information to review it. And we'll meet next month. All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night. Be safe and
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, George.
Kwame, I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.